Namaste, Assalamu alaikum, Sat Sri Akal, everyone. Welcome to another video. In this video, I want to take you with me on the journey from Kathmandu all the way to Muktinath temple in Nepal by bus only. So I was staying in Pamel area in Kathmandu and I just was shopping around. So went to many different travel agencies, guest houses and everything. And one actually right next to the place I was staying in offered me a good deal, 1200 Nepali rupees for the bus from Kathmandu to Pokhara. There is no direct bus from Kathmandu all the way to Muktinath. You first have to go to Pokhara, and from Pokhara, you then need to get another bus. The distance from Kathmandu to Pokhara is just 200 kilometers, but the bus journey is 8 hours, I've been told, because I've been told again that the road condition is not very good. So I decided to make an early start. So I chose the 7 a.m. departure. They instruct you to be at the bus park at quarter to 7 because these tourist buses will leave on time. Of course, you can also take local buses, but I think those journeys will be even more longer and the buses will be less comfortable. And again, for the bus ticket, you have plenty of choice. You have ones that cost anywhere from 1200 going up to 3000 rupees. There'll be a difference in the comfort level of the seat, and also some of them, the ones that cost 3000 rupees, include meals as well. So it's really up to you. So the one I've picked is 1200 rupees. Let's go inside once they let me in, and then we'll take a look at the seats and everything. So I've reached the bus park, of course, a little bit early, and you can see it's still dark. This is the 8th of December.
I was warned yesterday though when I was buying the bus ticket that when they say 7, they mean 7. You can't come here at 7:05, and he probably said that because I'm Indian anyway. And I did say to him, and he started laughing. So yeah, but they do advise coming here at 6:45. But because it's me, yeah, I'm here at 6. I did have morning chai as well. There you go, you can see lots and lots of people having chai in this little chai shop. So there we are, empty bus, no one yet. I think there was seating, so he asked me to take this seat, which is fine. I hope I'm not right on the wheel. I better check. Yeah, I better check.
I was taking a close look at my phone for time, and 6:59 he started the bus, and 7:00 we were on the road. So the tourist bus starts on time. You can see the road condition isn't very good, and as we go along, you'll see also that there's plenty of construction work going on the road, and that explains why it takes 8 hours to cover the short distance. You can also see the number of buses and minibuses on this route. It's a very busy route. With all this work, perhaps in the future, this road will become very good, and the journey time won't be so bad. But anyway, as of 2024, this is the situation. So the first stop was at 8:30 in the morning for breakfast, and I'm just going inside to see what it's like. There's some toilet facilities over there. I did go inside. They don't look very good, but it was not too dirty actually. And in terms of the breakfast, classic Nepali stuff. So one thing I realized while I was in Nepal is that when they say noodles, they actually mean sort of like your Maggi type things, and they have it for breakfast. And when you want the Chinese style of noodles, they call it chow mein. So for breakfast, typically you have the noodles, you have aloo chana, and they also had some fried stuff there. I personally had the aloo chana, and you can top it off with onions and green chilies. It was very tasty. Fantastic start to the day and to the journey.
How is the noodles? Very good.
Because I started really early, between breakfast and lunch, I literally just fell asleep on the bus. I have no idea what I saw. I didn't film anything. And before I knew it, the bus was pulling into the bus stop, or this bus park or whatever. And you can see there's so many buses, and almost everyone's stopping here for lunch. And I got off and had lunch over here. And This is like a buffet style. You can have vegetarian, or with chicken, you get a cup of chicken curry. And it was very, very tasty. I paid for the vegetarian was I think 500 rupees, all you can eat, except for the chicken. Was fantastic. It was a very, very, very tasty lunch. Bus stops for a good half an hour, so there was no rush or anything. So after sort of eating my food, just walked around the place a little bit, and then we were on the road once again. This time I didn't fall asleep on the bus. I was awake and I managed to film a little bit. Uh, Lots and lots of towns and cities come on this route. Chitwan, which is also got a jungle safari, I believe. Even Manakamana, which is a religious Hindu temple. Lots of pilgrims come there. All that is on this route. So even if you wanted to get off at Manakamana, you can tell the bus driver, and he will stop on this route where you can take the cable car. In fact, you see the cable car on this route.
Hello guys, finally reached Pokhara. So they started dot on time as promised, 7 a.m. dot. In fact, 6:59 he started the bus. We reached, and they said we would reach around 2:30, 3 o'clock, but that was not the case. We reached around 4:30, so it's a very long journey. It's nearly 9.5, 10 hours on the bus. They had 3 stops, 2 small stops and 1 bigger stop for lunch.
There is a short flight that you can take from Kathmandu to Pokhara, and it only takes like 20 minutes. Uh, why didn't I take that flight? Well, I'm just terrified because, um, you know, there's been many occasions, even in recent years, where that plane has crashed. So I'm just extra scared. I mean, many, many people are still taking it, so don't get me wrong, but I was personally just very scared. So that's the only reason I decided to take the bus. So anyway, one of the best areas to stay in Pokhara is Lakeside because, as you can see, even behind me, you can see the lake. And in Lakeside, you find many, many, many guest houses to suit all budgets. The one I'm staying in is called Golden Lake. I always use Booking.com. And again, this is sort of like nothing fancy, but does the job. It's actually run by a Nepali family. So the son mainly, he manages everything, but the parents, they all live in the ground floor. Very, very hospitable, very, very lovely. And I got so every room will have a view of the lake, I believe. And certainly the one I have has, and it was on the top floor. There was nobody. It was almost like a little penthouse to myself. I mean, this is the advantage of traveling low season. So this is, as I said, it's 8th of December, so just perfect. It's not very cold. I think the nighttime temperature is about 15 degrees centigrade. So yeah, I'm very pleased with this, and I'm paying $14 for this room. And I just noticed in the sky, wow, so beautiful. There's the moon and literally one star that I can see. And then just behind it, the mountains, the lake. Wow, absolutely beautiful. Let's just take a quick tour of the room inside as well. So the place was tidy and nothing to complain about. And there's also 24 hours hot water. And just outside the guest house, there's plenty and plenty of places to eat. And most importantly, I felt very safe in this neighborhood. So after spending a little bit more time on the terrace and just taking in the views of the surroundings, it was time for me to go and get something to eat. And again, no problem whatsoever on Lakeside, many, many, many restaurants all along the street.
So I happened to find this Sekwa place, which is basically Nepali barbecue. Sekwa, which is like sekna, like sekuing on a fire, basically. So you can have buffalo meat, pork, chicken. So I'm having chicken. Yeah, it's my first time. I've not had it before. So somebody else is filming their meat as well. Hello. How's the food? Hello. How's the food?
Good. Mito-cho, mito-cho.
Mito-cho.
Mito-cho, yeah.
How was the barbecue? Did you like the barbecue?
Oh, I like barbecue.
Yeah, yeah. Good, good. Where are you from?
I'm from Korea.
Korea.
Korea, yeah.
YouTuber as well?
YouTuber, I will.
Yeah.
I will make channel.
You will make channel. Okay, okay. All the best. स्नैक है या ये खाना है? अच्छा ऐसा मिलेगा? ये स्नैक में खाएगा ये?
जी.
अच्छा अच्छा.
इसके साथ दारू पिएगा. ये रहेगा.
अच्छा.
आपको पीता नहीं होगा. कभी कभी.
देखने में तो बहुत मजे की है.
आप इधर भी बैठ सकते हैं. नीचे भी.
Wow, this looks so good. And I love places like this. Oh my god. So there's also a red chutney with it. Really nice, but it's got tomato and garlic, chili, the usual.
This sekwa had my full attention. It was so delicious. It was cooked to perfection. It wasn't burnt. There was no overcooking whatsoever, but it was cooked so perfectly that it was nice and juicy, and the flavors had reached to the very core of the pieces as well. And then the radish that came with it added a nice crunch and freshness. Even in terms of portion size, it was just perfect. It wasn't too much, it wasn't too small. It was just perfect for sort of like a not so light but not so heavy dinner. So it was the perfect way to end the day, and it's time for another early start. It was really nice to see this very early start. This is a typical Hindu household. You know, the women of the house wake up early, shower, you know. This is how a typical Hindu household starts, and also the Buddhists. The reason the lamps are lit is to remove darkness from one's home, one's heart, one's life, basically. So I'm waiting for the bus from Pokhara to Muktinath. I bought the ticket at the bus station last night itself because the start is very early and you can't buy tickets on the bus. So anyway, the way it works is you start in Pokhara and the bus will stop in Jomsom for the night, and the same bus will take you to Muktinath the following day. So even if you wanted to, you can't go all the way up to Muktinath on the same day. You have to stay in Jomsom. So the bus itself will take you to a hotel in Jomsom, or if you've made your reservations, they'll drop you off there. But the point is, you have to stay the night in Jomsom if you're using the public bus.
So it's a taxis, it's a bus stop. This is the bus ticket counter.
This bus didn't start exactly on time. The departure time was 7. I think we started about 7:30. And this one is not a tourist bus, as they call it. It's a local bus. There's not that many bus choices as well, all the way up to Muktinath. Bus journey from Pokhara to Jomsom was much nicer because you could see lots and lots of, hill tribal villages all along the way. The road condition from Pokhara towards Jomsom was also a lot better than from Kathmandu to Pokhara, which I found very interesting.
So we've stopped here for the first stop, breakfast stop.
So the place was so small. It was so tidy. So that's the chutney and some aloo chana over there, and the big patila, the big vessel at the back had some dal as well. So everything was very clean. Even though from the outside, I was not sure, but once I went inside, it was very very clean. You can see some boiled eggs, typical Nepali breakfast, and fresh milk as well.
So I'm having this tarkari. They call it tarkari, but it's basically like aloo chana. That they don't have it with any roti or anything. They just have it like that, or with boiled egg. But I'm wrong. Some people have roti as well, but I'm just going to have the tarkari. It's really really nice and spicy. It's kala chana and boiled potato. But so nice for this cold weather. It's hot and spicy. Egg maybe.
After that really tasty and comforting breakfast, we were on the road again for another 4 hours before we reached for lunch. So all these roads that we're passing, this circuit, this is all part of the Annapurna circuit, and to do the whole circuit takes 22 days. And honestly, if I wasn't so focused on visiting Muktinath, which was a big part of my goal for this trip to Nepal, I would have done the trek. And the walking route or the trekking route is different. It's different than the road route. Occasionally, there's a crossover. You'll see some trekkers, but for the most part, the route is different. And the trekking route is obviously far, far more beautiful. For the trek, you can hire porters who charge you $20 a day, and they'll carry your backpacks, and they can be up to 20 kgs. And usually for the trek, they start early, but they finish trekking by around 3 in the afternoon, mainly because along this route, after about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, it starts to get very, very, very windy. So the point is that even though you're trekking, wherever you stay for the night, you actually already reach the place in the late afternoon. So you actually get to spend a lot of time in the mountains, in the fresh air. Wow. So after taking in the views, I'm really, really wishing that I was, doing this as a trek instead of a bus journey. It was time for another break. So this time it was lunch. So lunchtime is just dal bath time. And to get your dal bath, you get a coupon from here. And then once you've collected your coupon, you present it inside at the kitchen. So again, you can make payments either with cash or the phone pay type payments as well.
So once you get this token, you can go and have lunch. I'm having vegetarian. I swear the food is getting prepared. So then we have traditional dal bhat menu. But the best part is the view.
उता काउन्टरमा पठाउनु उतैबाट कोक मागेर पनि हो
Best way to enjoy dal bath is with your hands, but I'm a little bit self-conscious to eat with my hands outside. But the food was delicious and it's pretty standard. It's dal, almost always black urad dal, and aloo ki sabzi. So it'll be aloo, potato, and something like two vegetables mixed together. Then a tomato chutney, saag, which is like some steamed green vegetables, papad, and gungruk, which is it's actually dried. So they dry some of the green leaf vegetables, and it's almost like a dried green leaf pickle. It's not too spicy, but it's very unique in its taste. Very hard to describe. Very unique, very tasty. And of course, you can eat as much as you want. I chose to have vegetarian that day, but if you have chicken, then you have a limited amount of chicken that comes with the non-vegetarian thali. And the most comforting, most delicious plate of food, really this
दोनों
Nepali
चाहिए
Ah, music, yeah.
वायरल कर दीजिए
So that you can get as much as you want. Thank you, Dai.
वेलकम
The food was delicious, but the enthusiasm with which he was serving the food was just adding a little bit more to the magic.
Have it. Oh.
I think this stop for lunch was a real highlight. So, of course, the food was nice, but just, along with the food, these views, the flowers, the mountains, and that snow capped peak. Wow, it was just breathtaking. So important to just sit down and take in a few moments of all this beauty and also to capture them because, sure, over the years you remember a lot of these things, but you also forget a lot of these things, especially these small little finer details. So that's why I make it a point to film them, to share them. Even though I find editing so challenging, it's so worth it in the end.
So basically, these are the actual homes of the local hill tribe people, and they open it up for trekkers. So everything is just modest here. A lot of these places won't have hot water or anything fancy, but then that's the whole point of the experience to have as authentic an experience as possible.
बोलो बोलो भन न अहिले अहिले बल्ल भन्ने
क्या? So the bus has stopped here for 10 minutes. So we just had lunch and like 20 minutes later we have a 10-minute break because the views here are just beautiful, and you've noticed I've got my jacket off because it's not cold at all. They say that as you go higher up it's going to get much colder, especially in the evening, but now at 1:15 in the afternoon it's just spectacular. And I think pretty much every bus stops here. So you see lots and lots and lots of people.
Muktinath is in the Mustang area of Nepal, and this district is very popular one for the Muktinath temple. So you find pilgrims, then you find the trekkers, and it's also because it's so scenic and so beautiful. You find a lot of Nepali people there going to do films, film shooting,
आप
shooting,
पोखरा से
so on and so
तो
forth.
क्या करने आए यहाँ?
हम डांस करने आए
डांस करने?
शूटिंग में
कहाँ जा रहे हैं?
शूटिंग में
शूटिंग है हमारा शूटिंग है मुस्तांग में
So everyone's helping one another take photos. There they are.
As we continued our journey, we passed by many suspension bridges like this, and if you do the trek, we actually get to cross them by foot. So this is the Annapurna Conservation Area checkpost, and you need to get a permit to go beyond this area. Every foreign national needs this. Your guest house will be able to do it for you, and if you can't for any reason, you can go inside these offices and you can get a permit here as well. It costs 1,000 Nepali rupee. If you get it done in the guest house, they charge me an extra 200 as a service fee. And you can see how breezy it's gotten now because it's about 3 in the afternoon. It's starting to get colder and very, very, very breezy. So the 1,000 rupee fee for the permit is if you're an Indian national or any Asian national. If you're from any other country, Europe, America, Canada, it costs 3,000 Nepali rupee, and you can get it in this office. Had enough time to just walk around. So the bus actually stopped here in Gasa village. So that's where the start of the conservation area is.
The exact village here they're doing checking is called Gasa, and they're going to check again when we get to Jomsom.
Trekking along this route is absolutely spectacular, and I get to stay in guest houses like this and really experience very intimately the mountains and the freshness of the area. However, personally, I would always only trek this type of area with a guide because the weather can change very quickly for the worse. So it's just important to be with people that know the area. Back in October 2014, nearly 140 people lost their lives because there was a snowstorm. The irony is that October is supposed to be one of the best months to do the trek. The storm and the incident occurred a little bit further up in the circuit along the Thorong Pass area. But nevertheless, it's just really, really important to be with people that know the area to constantly and frequently keep checking the weather and not take any unwanted risks. The really nice thing about these local buses is that they actually stop along the way, not just for lunch and dinner, but also they give us an hour to just walk around Marfa village, which is a Tibetan village along the Annapurna circuit.
It's 3:30 in the afternoon, and we are quite high up in the mountains now, and honestly it's cold. It's already cold. I've had to zip up, I've had to wear this, everything, so I think everything I've heard about, and it's really windy, that's the important thing.
Children enjoying themselves. It is a Sunday, so that's why they're out and about. I didn't know that there was a stop in this village. Of course, I'm very, very pleased I got to see a village like this along the way. That was really, really a pleasant surprise. And they just said, just walk. And at the end, we'll meet the bus again. So
Namaste. Wow.
this is the village school, but being Sunday, it's closed. That's why we don't get to see any students or the classrooms or anything.
Quaint and so cute.
Walking during my travels is one of my favorite things to do. It's so relaxing, so therapeutic, and so exciting as well. The religion mainly being practiced here is Tibetan Buddhism, so that's why you see the prayer wheels. Prayer wheels have mantras in them, so spinning the wheel is the equivalent of chanting the mantra that's in the wheel. And these, like little flags or banners that you see, again, that's very typical of the Tibetan Buddhism, and they have prayers on them as well. Whenever I'm planning a trip, there is always an element of research, but sometimes I try not to over research. I just try to get information for travel and stuff, just so that I can have the experience that I'm having here in Marfa. I'd never heard of this place, I'd never seen any videos or pictures. So when I finally got to experience it firsthand, it was there was such a novelty to it.
Marfa is really well known for alcohol made from apple. So that's why everywhere you see these coffee shops.
The monastery is in the center of the village and also, but still much higher up elevation wise. But fortunately, there's very neatly laid out stairs, so that helps a little bit. But it was still very, very challenging to go up these stairs. There's some prayers going on in the monastery, and even in Tibetan Buddhism, they call it puja.
I just came up these stairs and there must be about 20 to 30 stairs and it was hard.
So this is the inside of the monastery, and it's all wooden structure. And there's a little curious little young monk peeking into what's going on. Let's see. It looks like it's some kind of private puja because you can see some people sitting inside. But I didn't want to go inside or disturb what was going on. Overall, these places are extremely, extremely, extremely peaceful. And they do, outside of these puja hours, you can sit down and meditate for however long you want. I immediately fell in love with this place, and I thought on my way back from Muktinath, I definitely have to come and spend at least one whole day over here. It was so, so, so like just, that instant feeling of you just love it. You just want to spend more time here. You feel that sort of invitation. I really felt that sense of invitation here. It's about 4 in the afternoon now, and you can see the villagers, working the land. And it's so interesting to see the entire family, including this little young man, doing his bit, supporting his family. Basically, the village main road was like a circle. And so we walked, and then we reached the end of the main road, and the bus was waiting for us. And you can see even private vehicles have stopped. There were some bikers there. And then we set off and we reached Jomsom. Marfa to Jomsom is about 6 kilometers. It takes a little bit longer because, the roads are narrow, and the driver was very good, very careful. So this is Jomsom finally. I just want to mention that the bus driver itself can take you to a hotel. So this is the hotel that the bus driver brought us to. We could stay here or we could stay anywhere else in Jomsom. And yeah, so that's where we stayed the night with this river view.
Oh, good morning guys. So you can see it's so cold. It's minus 5 degrees but feels like minus 10. And we're in Jomsom now and we're on our way to Muktinath. So this is the bus and this is where we stayed last night. Oh my god, it's so challenging but so worth it as well.
The hotel we stayed in didn't have heating, But fortunately, there was hot water. So after having a hot shower, we were all ready to get back on the bus. The distance from Jomsom to Muktinath is about 22 kilometers. It took us about an hour and a half. The road condition throughout was very, very good. So this is where the bus deviates to Kagbini, I believe. And if you remember, there was a group going for shooting. So I think they went off in this direction somewhere to do their filming. Kagbini is also a popular place for stops and it has some hotels. This is Kagbini actually. So there's monastery, hotels, and everything. The bus stopped one more time for sunrise, and everybody got off to take pictures. It stopped for about 15, 20 minutes. And honestly, this was another breathtaking experience. It almost felt like I was on a different planet. The areas are so remote and so quiet, and yet along the way, you'll see villages, you'll see monasteries. I'm sure in these areas they have a lot of peace of mind and a lot of the other sort of stresses that we experience in cities won't be present here. But at the same time, it must be physically challenging. Like, how do they get their supplies? What do they do for hot water? All this stuff must be challenging. So these were the thoughts that were cropping up in my head every time I was passing these villages and monasteries. And they're using horses for transport locally. Perhaps this is how they go from village to village. Or as we got closer to Muktinath, I saw that we were not the only bus. So there was this one ahead of us. And then when we reached Muktinath finally, you just see the number of vehicles just coming in. Some of them are public buses like the one I got, and some of them are group excursions, taxis. But I was surprised. It was just after 7 o'clock, and you see the buzz already.
So guys, we finally reached Muktinath and we have to now climb up, I think, about 300 stairs. So all the buses have parked here. You can see lots and lots of people. It's December 8th and darshan is still possible. There's no snow or anything, but it's very, very, very cold. You have to be prepared for the cold. ये कितने का है ये?
सबै आइटम छ
हाँ?
Any offering you want to buy, like sugar candy, coconut, bangles, everything is available.
When we visit any kind of Hindu temple, we always take offerings, so that's what people are purchasing. I bought some sugar candy just because it's quite light and easy to carry. These are the spectacular views. There's even some toilets here. There's a little restaurant here, tea, coffee, everything.
दादा फेरि मन्दिर जाँदा फेरि भिडियो के
So this is Mustang district, and the actual village is called Ranipua. We just started calling it Muktinath because of the temple. The temple is at an elevation of 3,800 meters, which is nearly 13,000 feet. It's about 12,900 feet. So you definitely should be carrying some altitude medication with you. And also, once you reach the entrance, like you see all this chaos and commotion, there's options to either climb up to the temple with the help of a donkey, or there's also the dolly option where there's a seat and four men will carry you up.
कितने का है 400 वापसी का
नहीं सी वन वे
वन वे
खै सब हिन्दी हो
Rupees one way for the horse ride. The village actually has quite a lot of hotels that are built already and also some that are under construction. And you can see here a lady being carried in the dolly with the foreman. That costs a little bit more than the horse ride, but obviously if you have any kind of mobility issues, this would be the best option.
कितने
I believe this would have all been far more beautiful before all this sort of overdevelopment that's set in. I mean, there's good and bad to it. The good side, obviously, is that, there's amenities, there's hotels with hot water and heating and places to stay for pilgrims. The negative side, of course, is that, it's just not as beautiful. There's several hotels that are already built and functioning in the village. However, only 2 or 3 of those are listed on booking.com. So if you went on booking.com and you didn't find a hotel, don't worry. You can still come here and there will be plenty of option. As you keep trekking towards the temple, you will really start to feel the cold. But the one lovely thing is that along the way, there was little fireplaces like this. And I believe they're just volunteers that had lit these fires up. And it was such a good thing to sort of keep your hands warm. Because shoes, socks, everything's fine. But with your hands, oh my God.
आप कहाँ से
हम नेपाल काठमांडू से हैं।
काठमांडू से है तो आप किस मकसद हेलो
इधर पे हमारा दीदी बैठकर आग ताप रहे हैं।
Yeah, it's so cold. Just see, my hands are just red in color. They're swollen, so I need to heat up.
Guys, subscribe our YouTube channel if you are new then.
Thank you. Okay.
Lots of Nepalis go to Bangalore to study, and I discovered this on my trek to the temple.
How do you feel?
Really fantastic. Much better than I expected. And you studied in Bangalore?
Yeah.
What did you study?
I studied BBM and MBA.
And did you enjoy it?
Of course. I'm going to visit there once again.
Oh, you're welcome.
I miss
Welcome.
it so much. One of the most beautiful places
Yeah.
I have ever been. I've been to other countries as well,
Yeah.
but that place, especially that place in India,
And Bangalore weather, right?
weather. So, no गर्मी न जाडो के कहिल्यै हुँदैन
Perfect weather.
पोखरा जस्तै
So this is the entrance. We have to climb about 300 stairs to the temple.
Similar to the monastery in Marfa, even here the stairs were very nicely laid out. So despite the altitude, it wasn't very difficult if you paced yourself. Step by step, every 2-3 steps, stop, take some rest, take in the views. So the temple is significant for both Hindu devotees as well as followers of Buddhism. So Mukti means liberation. And so this is believed to be the Lord of Liberation or the place of liberation. And it's one of the 108 Divya Desams or divine lands. So it is believed that, worshipping Lord Vishnu here in the form of Muktinath will sort of help you attain salvation. For the Buddhists, this is significant because they believe Guru Padmasambhava or Rinpoche, his Tibetan name, meditated here before he made his way to Tibet, where he sort of spread Buddhism in Tibet, and it was the start of Tibetan Buddhism.
The horse option, you see, they don't take the stairs obviously. That's the route. Because of the high altitude, it's a really good thing they've done. There's a primary healthcare unit over here. So I guess if you feel really unwell, you can come here. At the moment, it doesn't look open, but there is some facility here to get yourself together. So as I said, you can come here by helicopter, and this is exactly where the helipad is.
As you enter the temple, you see this really, really ancient gumpa, which is another name for monastery. Walking up the stairs and these temple bells, it just sort of was a very, very sort of divine setting. It almost sort of made sense to see why the Lord himself would come here or why a guru would come here to meditate. So, of course, there's no filming inside the actual temple itself, and you can see the 108 dharas here. It's believed that having a bath under these waters will wash away your karmas accumulated over many, many lifetimes. But obviously, it's so cold. But there were some brave people who were running across. I wasn't able to do it, so I just put some water over my head, like a lot of people did.
I managed to do all the 108. I'm not brave enough or strong enough to actually shower, but yeah, I'm really grateful. I put a little bit on my face and as many of the 108 as possible. I'm so grateful. And the water is not that cold, but the water is quickly becoming ice. Can you see? It's all becoming ice. And so even on the ground, so you need to be really, really, really careful with this. So even December, 8th of December, second week of December, it's still possible. Even if there's snow, the temple doesn't close, but obviously there won't be any devotees. I have to go and do the main darshan now, but for main darshan, camera is not allowed, unfortunately. So I'll see you after darshan.
So this is the main temple. So you see the structure of the temple also sort of like in Kedarnath, sort of North Indian, Tibet, Nepali style is slightly different than what you find in, say, South India or even North India. And we're not allowed to film inside, which I think is a very good thing, because if they allowed filming inside, I can just imagine the chaos. And also spiritually, it kind of takes away from the power of the place. So for these reasons, I'm really happy that filming is not allowed inside the temple. The views around the temple, the setting, the natural setting of the temple was very, very calm, very, very conducive for prayer and meditation. And I guess that's why, like, even Guru Padmasambhava came here to meditate, why, Vishnumurti himself came over here. It just has that sort of divine ambience. Very, very nice. I'm so glad I was invited to this place of worship. This is the main entrance of the temple, and of course you have to leave your shoes outside and everything, and it wasn't that busy inside. So once we got inside, there was not a long queue or anything of that sort. You entered in, and within 2-3 minutes there was a priest. You could give him your offering, whatever you wanted. And also inside there was this little ever burning fire as well. After the darshan, there was a gate, a back gate, And I just sort of was curious and went outside. And then I just found this spectacular spot where there was nobody. There was pin drop silence. And honestly, it was so refreshing, rejuvenating. You could sit here for as long as you want. It was, and by this point, about 10 in the morning, it wasn't even that sort of killing cold. And the wind had also subsided. So this was really a dream. Whenever I go traveling, I'm trying to find spots exactly like this, where there's complete silence and peace, and I'm just left to myself without any tourist crowds or anything of that sort. But at the same time, you have all of the amenities because this place has hotels, buses, everything. At the same time, you've got that me time and all this beautiful. So, in that sense, this was a real dream come true.
So I'm entering the Buddhist monastery now, and this is actually at a slightly higher elevation than the temple. So the temple you can see here. So there you can see that's the temple with all the devotees and everything. So that's the Hindu temple, and right here is the Buddhist monastery.
The monastery was far more peaceful, far more quiet, and very, very, very few of the people that visited the temple actually came to the monastery. So that added to that peaceful, quiet, and serene environment. And you got a much more intimate feel of the mountains. And one is free to just sit down and meditate over here. There's absolutely no restriction whatsoever. And honestly, the ambience and the environment is such that it's so conducive for meditation and just sort of rejuvenating your soul.
These are the little monks here. A little bit shy. नाम बताए? धर्मा वांगमा. वांगमो. कितने साल से यहाँ मोनास्ट्री में रह रहे हो? स्तूपा में? 8 years? 8 साल?
8 साल
8 साल से? अच्छा.
7 साल से रहे हूँ, 8 साल हो गए.
अच्छा. तो आप 1 साल में थे जब यहाँ स्टार्ट हुए? You were 1 year old?
नो
No.
इधर आए हुए 8 साल हो गए.
Okay.
मैं इधर आते वक्त 7 साल की थी.
अच्छा, आप 15 साल के हो?
हाँ.
ऐसे तो नहीं लग रहा, बच्चा लग रहा है. So he said that he's been here for 8 years, and then he said he came here when he was 7. I didn't understand. I mean, he's 15 years, but he looks so young. So I thought that he's been here 8 years, and he came here 7 years ago. So I thought, what? He came when he was 1 year old. But no, he came here when he was 7, and he's been 8 years.
So this is one of the few monasteries where there's women as well. And perhaps this is because Guru Rinpoche or Padmasambhava was Tantric Buddhist. Perhaps that's the reason. When Lord Buddha first founded his Sangha or his community of monks, he was strictly opposed to having women in the organization. He wanted it to be male only, and he'd refused quite a few women that wanted to join the order. And finally, the first woman that he initiated into monkhood was his stepmother once his father, the king, passed away. I could have spent a lot more time here in the monastery, but then the bus departs at 12 in the afternoon from Muktinath back to Pokhara, and the bus driver kept calling me, so that's why I had to leave. And on the way back, by this point, you can see there's lots and lots of spiritual Babajis who are praying, reading scriptures, whatever. Overall, this was a spectacular experience. And I hope you found the information useful. Feel free to email me or contact me if you need any information. Thank you very much for watching this video. And if you did enjoy the video, found it useful, please subscribe and share the video. Certainly make some comments that will help motivate and encourage me. Thank you very much. See you in the next video.